Now questions of paper 8. World War II started as a result of Germany invading which country? Poland. The Second World War started when Hitler invaded Poland in 1939. Britain and France declared war in order to stop his aggression. Which flower is associated with Scotland? That's called the thistle. The flower associated with Scotland is the thistle. Thistle. Okay. Then which flower is associated with England and Wales? The rose associated with England, daffodil associated with Wales. Okay. Police complaints can only be made in writing to the chief constable of the police force involved. No, that's false. Anyone can actually make a complaint about the police by going to the police station and writing to the chief constable of the police force involved. Complaints can also be made to an independent body, the Independent Police Complaints Commission in England and Wales. The Independent Police Complaints Commission in England and Wales. The Police Complaints Commissioner for Scotland, or the Police Ombudsman of Northern Ireland. Police Ombudsman of for Northern Ireland, or the Police Complaints Commissioner for Scotland. Which of the following is a responsibility of the Home Secretary? Crime is a responsibility of Home Secretary. The Home Secretary is responsible for crime, policing and immigration. Okay. When is Saint David's Day celebrated? 1st March. Saint David's Day, who is the patron of Wales, celebrated on the 1st of March. Okay. What happened to Mary, Queen of Scots, after she spent 20 years in prison? She was executed. Mary was eventually executed, accused of plotting against Elizabeth I. Okay. She was Queen of Scots. She spent 20 years in prison and she was eventually executed, accused of plotting against Elizabeth I. When did Francis Crick, what did Francis Crick discover? He discovered the structure of the DNA molecule. Francis Crick discovered the structure of the DNA molecule. Okay. Northern Ireland and Scotland have their own banknotes, which are valid everywhere in the UK. It is a true statement. So Northern Ireland and Scotland, they have their own banknotes which are valid everywhere in the UK. Okay. How many national parks are there in England, Wales and Scotland? 15. There are 15 national parks in England, Wales and Scotland. Okay. Then, is Northern Ireland part of the Great Britain? Yes, obviously Northern Ireland is not part of the Great Britain, sorry. Great Britain refers to England, Scotland, Wales. And if you include Northern Ireland, it becomes United Kingdom. So if you are a dog owner, which two things should your dog's collar have when you go out for a walk? It should have the owner's name and the owner's address. So all dog in public places must wear a collar showing the name and address of the owner. What day relates to the death of Jesus Christ? It's called Good Friday. Easter takes place in March or April. It marks the death of Jesus Christ on Good Friday and his rising from the dead on Easter Sunday. Okay. A responsibility of the MPs is to represent everyone in their constituency. A responsibility of the MPs is to represent everyone in their constituency. What was achieved with the Magna Carta? It restricted the power of the king. So the Magna Carta established the idea that even the king was subject to the law. It protected the rights of the nobility and restricted the king's power to collect taxes or to make and change laws. In future, the king would need to involve his noblemen in decisions. Now, female genital mutilation or taking a girl or a woman abroad for female genital mutilation is illegal in the UK and it's a criminal offense, and this is a true statement. So, female genital mutilation is a crime. What year were women given the right to vote? Women were given the right to vote in 1918. In 1918, women over the age of 30 were given voting rights and the right to stand for parliament, partly in recognition of the contribution of women made to the war effort during the First World War. So you see, the right to vote for women in the UK came in two main stages. 1918, as we saw, women over the age of 30, they were given voting rights. In 1928, there was equal suffrage, the representation of people. Equal Franchisee Act 1928 finally gave women the vote on the same terms as men, meaning all women over the age of 21 could vote regardless of the property ownership and all. Now, next question is, which of the following are British overseas territories? So you see, Saint Helena and Falkland Islands, they are British overseas territories. Okay. Who did the English defeat in 1588? In 1588, the English defeated the Spanish Armada, a large fleet of ships. Okay. Who designed the cenotaph? Sir Edwin Lutyens. Sir Edwin Lutyens was responsible for designing many war memorials throughout the world, including the cenotaph in the Whitehall. Okay. So Sir Edwin Lutyens was responsible for designing many war memorials throughout the world, including the cenotaph in Whitehall. It is dedicated to the glorious dead of the First and Second World Wars and later conflicts, right? How often are the members of the Welsh government elected? Every 4 years. There are 60 members of the Welsh government or members of the Senedd, and elections are held every 4 years using a form of proportional representation. So Welsh government members are elected every 4 years. There are 60 members. Okay. During which period did the Beatles become popular and social laws were liberalized? It was in 1960s. The decade of the 1960s was a period of significant social change. It was known as swinging 60s. There was growth in British fashion, cinema and popular music. Two well-known pop music groups at that time were the Beatles and the Rolling Stones. It was also a time when social laws were liberalized, for example in relation to divorce and to abortion in England, Wales and Scotland. The position of women in the workplace also improved. The Man Booker Prize is awarded in which of the following categories? So the Man Booker Prize for fiction is awarded annually for the best fiction novel literature written by an author from the Commonwealth, Ireland or Zimbabwe. It has been awarded since 1968. Past winners include Ian McEwan, Hilary Mantel and Julian Barnes. Ian McEwan, Hilary Mantel and Julian Barnes. So that is the Man Booker Prize for fiction, awarded annually for best fiction novel literature. Okay. Written by an author from Commonwealth, Ireland or Zimbabwe. What sort of election takes place when a member of parliament dies or resigns? That's called a by-election. If an MP dies or resigns, there will be a fresh election called a by-election in his or her own constituency. What is the Tanner Prize? Okay, so the Tanner Prize is a contemporary art award. The Tanner Prize was established in 1984. and celebrates contemporary art. So the Turner Prize, celebrates contemporary art award. It was established in 1984. The Turner Prize is recognized as one of the most prestigious visual art awards in Europe. One of the most prestigious visual art awards in Europe, Turner Prize. Okay.